Ok, ça marche. Ça marche. Good afternoon. It's a great pleasure for my department to participate for the first time this event, and of course, it's my first participation too. However, the Service d'Infrastructure de la Défense, SID, knows the NSEC COE because I met this unit in Versailles this year. This is briefly the summary of my presentation in 7 points. And for beginning, just an overview of my department to understand our organization. The SID was created in 2005 with the fusion of previous head managements of engineer departments, air infrastructure department, and maritime infrastructure department. So the SID became the unique service for the French Ministry of Defense involved in infrastructure. So, as you can see, it's a joint service. This slide goal is to present a global overview of the French Ministry of Defense organization, focusing on the location of the SID. The global organization of the Ministry of the French Armed Forces could be compared as two-headed directions. First are the armies under the joint HQ umbrella, and a general support organization dealing with human resources, financial resources, and management of infrastructure. My department lies under the general support organization called General Secretary for Administration. The other main joint services as medical support, oil and operational fuel and supply services are under the direct control of the Army's Chief of Staff. Now the SID main missions. They are divided into different functions. First, command and assistance. It means assisting the command by providing advices and support to express requirements, seize investment opportunities, and ensure project feasibility. Second is management and execution. It refers to coordinating construction, renovation, and upkeep of buildings while controlling costs and deadlines. Third, management and maintenance. It's about administrating and upkeeping of state-owned properties occupied by the Ministry of Defense, which represents 50% of the French state domain. Fourth is expertise, by provision of all technical, administrative, and legal expertise to meet specific requirements of military infrastructure. Then, operational support is the fifth mission. The SID provides infrastructure-related requirements in all locations, including in the arena, specific operations such as nuclear deterrent, hosting new weapons system, stationing support, and so on. In sixth, of course, the last but not the least, is the energy support. By means of controlling and optimizing the Ministry's energy management, including the design of the energy policy, exception of fuel matters provided by the SEA for vehicles, aircrafts, and ships. The geographical organization of the service is fitted to the organization of the armed forces and its other services. First and second row in France, and on the third row in all our overseas territories, and of course here, they are not represented in this slide, all territories where we were in operations. Africa, Lebanon, Iraq, Jordan, sorry. In tune with our partners and supported entities, the SID provides tailor-made responses for the armed forces by developing customer relations founded on formalized, even contractualized exchanges. A slide like a civilian company to present the main features of my department. This presentation of the SID main features should lead to one conclusion. My department is certainly the biggest infrastructure support unit of all the French ministry, and certainly the most operational one. But the SID main objectives are still to keep skills about strategical areas in which we need our own engineers, because response to armed forces requirements is the priority. We are focusing on the following priorities: industrial and port facilities, airport facilities, health infrastructures, nuclear infrastructures, training camps and shooting range, ammunition storage, protection safety, and of course, since 2010, energy performance. My center of excellence is near Lyon. We do our best to challenge these main topics, and as you can see, it includes the renewable energy sources issues, which were transcribed in French laws since the COP21 after the Paris Summit in 2015. Let me now focusing on energy matter. As the General Director of the SID, I am the Chairman of the Energy Steering Committee, which with all the actors shown on this slide, and we have 2 meetings per year. My service has been named responsible of the energetic transition for the armed forces, except the zone of competence of the SEA. It's mainly because the French Ministry of Defense considers that the daily high cost of the energy consumption still a big issue to take care of. Heating and electricity represents about 27% of the total consumption of the ministry. So I already spoke about the SCR. On this slide, you will more understand the difference between our 2 departments. The SID is responsible of what it described as infrastructure energy, and in the current military operations, it's mostly represented by electricity and power grids, providing power, heating, or cooling. And the mobility energy is within the competence of the SEA. So, for example, when a part of the vehicle fleet abandons fuel in France to be moved by electric power, it concerns, of course, our grids. The present slide is dedicated to the French energetic transition led by a governmental plan. Our sustainable strategy over 2020 could be divided on 4 main challenges: preserve the natural environments and territories, eco-design infrastructure and control over the environmental footprint, consolidate a socially responsible approach, and finally, keep establishing a governance allowing the performant implementations of the sustainability strategy of the French Ministry of Defense. This strategy is mainly applied for the fixed camp and infrastructure of the ministry. First step, from 2012 until 2017, its aim was knowledge. It dealt with codes, consumption, governance, and efficiency. The second step, until 2023, its aim is maîtrise and control. It will confirm the previous action engaged, savings, monitoring, energy decline into master plans and technologies. The autonomy and resilience will be the most important new item. It means the French Ministry of Defense will manage the free surfaces of the armed forces, and we have promised 2,000 hectares for the next years for the photovoltaic energy. Based on 6 years' experience, in order to support daily with success the local units on what we call the base de défense in France, we have identified the main key factors of success. First, education. Education considers everyone at every level of the ministry. Then, pedagogy is essential to convince and modify behaviors. Patience is also needed, especially in an often rotation structure such as the Ministry of the Armed Forces. And finally, pragmatism is our guideline. These are the same factors of success for our base camps in operation, with the other problem of the changeover units every 4 or 6 months. I look at the time. The SID has engaged the Ministry to the energetic transition with its participation to the development of new technologies, such as use of the biomass energy plant for heating a camp, such as Lavalbonne in south of France, or solar heating concentrator technology at Saint-Christol in Provence. The third picture. The empty spaces on the sites are also often used to deploy solar panels in a self-consumption aim. These projects are well supported and encouraged by the Ministry. During the recent years, a huge effort has been engaged by the SID to promote energy efficiency. We can observe this tangible result on the various sites as Lavalbonne and Saint-Christol just before, and more than 5 sites benefiting of energy efficiency contract. And 11 ones more are on progress. Yes. The metropolitan territory in the Base de Défense currently enabled to use or experiment different technologies and their reliability before deploying them under the stress of the operations. For example, the service proceeded to the replacement of the electric heater by solar heater. It saved about 56 kVA of installed power for a 500-person camp in Lebanon. It is also widely developed in our overseas territories like Réunion Island, French West Indies, Tahiti, and so on. The use of a light hybrid power system avoids to deploy a medium voltage network. This asset is able to power of up to 10 packs site, like in Jordan on an Air Force base. And the Air Force and our service are currently testing a 3 bungalows auto-powered system at Bordeaux since last year. The goals are self-consumption and shading of containers used for offices and rooms. As examples of what we are using on overseas operations, have a look on this slide. With a medium hybrid power generator up to 75 kVA capability, a medium power grid powering up to 50 packs site and petroleum oils and lubricant storage. Both of them are deployed in Jordan at present time. The French industry presented to the service an ISO container including management and storage of electricity. It also includes the distribution board and switchboard function. This asset is already existing for civilian applications and has to be tested for military applications. However, this asset will become a reality when the action engaged in France will be assimilated by the armed forces for the obvious reason of global cost. This slide shows 3 ongoing projects. The first one is a test of hybrid power generation and management system from NATO under NSEC COE supervision. It has been tested in real conditions with the French Air Force in Cazaux in south of Bordeaux since September 2017. This asset was studied and a lesson identified was shared with NSEC COE. The second one is about energy management in the military expeditionary environment on the real life zone of Niamey Air Base. It is developed in partnership with NATO and, of course, NSEC COE. Despite this experiment is not ended, the first lessons are identified. the necessity of the continuous dialogue within the end user and the manager of the energy, and efficient pedagogy. It will certainly be more developed tomorrow morning. The last one is about the permanent structure cooperation in defense, PESCO, in which the French Joint HQ declared its leadership for the energy operational function. Two slides to present several networks architecture, focusing on the main advantages of each one. Microhybrid network for isolated sites, intelligent network and city for network sustainment, intelligent building and energy management, management of renewable energy producer. We are studying the different architectures in order to identify the appropriate solutions fitting to our needs and requirements. The last one, it's the power grid and distribution network architecture in the long term on operation. This French concept of the eco-camp has been presented at Eurosatory this year, just before the summer. This is the most valuable development of the expertise department of the service. It also includes development of the infrastructure, of course, but also production, distribution, and management of water, which is another mission for the service in operations. So, at the end of this presentation, you can imagine that I am interested in involving my department in NSEC COA works. Thank you for your attention.